Hello and welcome to Ecumenical Matters, the Father Ted podcast. I'm your host, James McAnespy. So this is the YouTube version of the podcast. I've taken out some of the material that dates the podcast and tried to make it more timeless. So please like and subscribe. Thanks and bless you.
Would be an ecumenical matter.
Hello and welcome to Ecumenical Matters, the Father Ted podcast. Today we're discussing Season 2, Episode 2, Think Fast, Father Ted. I'm here today with Marcus Keeley, an improv artist and actor and comedian. How are you doing today, Marcus?
I'm alright. How are you?
I'm grand, yeah. Thanks very much for asking. What are you getting up to at the minute?
Yes, part of Wonder Frog in the Black Box. We have our next show is in the Black Box on July 20th.
20th of July, lovely. So it'll be coming up soon whenever we actually get this episode out.
Yes.
It'll be quite soon. Do you reckon there'll still be tickets left? I know these are quite popular.
Yeah, no, there should be. I would say, yeah. There's a small chance there'll still be plenty of tickets left.
Good.
But you can always just turn up in the door. But we do like tickets.
Brilliant. Well, if you go, I'll hopefully see you there as well, because I'll try and make it down as well, just to see what you're up to.
That's on record as well. So.
It is now, yeah. And also, we have him back. He's been away on a bit of a sabbatical to two different places around the world, LA and then Barcelona. We have Ash back on the desk.
Hello.
Can you hear yourself, Ash?
Yeah, it sounds a bit weird through the headphones though.
But yeah, we're here to talk about Season 2, Episode 2, Think Fast, Father Ted. Now, I brought this up last week, Marcus. The titles of the episodes are very nondescript. Like, if you heard the word Think Fast, Father Ted, what kind of episode do you think we're chatting about?
Possibly a quiz or something to do with the mind, really, if he has to think fast. But obviously, think fast just means he's in some sort of a problem, but then he is in every episode. Yeah, it's like you say, it could really be anything. They're similar to the episode titles of Bottom, where it would just be one word, and you would have to then put bottom in front of it. So there'd be bottoms like up or out or episodes, and it took me a long time to realise, oh, they're making a joke. I get it now, right? Okay.
So the episode would be Bottom Up?
It would just be titled Up, so then you'd have to decide, does that mean bottom up or up bottom? Because you have to put bottom into the title somewhere. It's a very cerebral joke for such a vulgar show that it was, but like Father Ted, it's one of those ones where you would watch it when you were younger and you can keep going back to them and seeing different jokes or getting what they actually meant in that.
Yeah, well, it's funny, you're the first one to bring up Bottom, actually, in this podcast. We've had a lot of comparisons to the young ones and stuff, but they are the sort of same end of the comedy spectrum, if you want to call it that way. They are very anarchic, and they are very, there is slight surrealism to it. Bottom's obviously much more cartoonish. Yeah. Although there is elements of the cartoonishness in Ted, isn't there?
Yeah, a lot of the physical violence, and maybe not as much smut as you would get in Bottom, but definitely in terms of people getting hit over the head or falling through windows or people dying and coming back to life, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
that would happen. It is quite cartoonish.
Yeah, well, exactly, yeah. What we open with is Jack. He's getting leaked on because the roof was broken. So he's actually getting a very primitive version of Chinese water torture going on, where it's all just leaking directly onto his head. And it must be nightmares for him.
Well, thankfully he's unconscious through, I'll take a guess, alcoholism, perhaps. Maybe tiredness brought on by drinking, but he seems to be happy enough where he is, to the extent where that's what he says when they actually move him across the room.
Well, yeah.
He's a happy camper, but that might just be some of his strange dreams that he's prone to having.
I just couldn't figure out whether he was taking the piss by saying that.
Yeah,
I'm a happy camper now.
He is sarcastic from time to time, but I think it is just his brain spitting out whatever was happening in his head as he was sleeping. So it might have been some sort of carry-on style camping adventure in his head with a maybe more wet t-shirt competition where he's being dragged around. But he did seem to be reasonably happy at that happening.
He did, and I'm surprised actually that line, "I'm a happy camper." I don't know how that's not more remembered as one of his lines, because that to me is one of the funniest lines in today's show. In fact, I would nearly put that down as a line of the show.
Yeah, it's similar to the hairy Japanese bastards that he threw, where it's just such a non sequitur. You're like, oh, you think that would be remembered as well, but it's "I'm a happy camper" isn't for some reason.
Well, hopefully we're changing all that now. We'll make that one of the classic lines of the show.
Yeah, it could be one of those things where, because I was listening to, not related to Father Ted, but Arnold Schwarzenegger was on a podcast and he was talking about how his lines always come back to him as well, and people always come up and say things. like, you know, I'll Be Back and all the typical ones, but he said it was only in like a few generations after Predator came out the line "Get to the Chopper" became popularized. He said, whenever the movie came out, no one was saying "Get to the chopper," and all these kids now they're all saying "Ah." He's just like, that's a line that's come out over time rather than one of the classic lines in the film. So it could be that with "I'm a Happy Camper."
The first time I heard that line out of context was actually an Eminem song, I believe.
Get to the chopper? Or I'm a happy camper?
Get to the chopper. He's I'm Arnold, get down.
Come on.
No, get to the chopper. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he says in that song, what is it? Something like me. Ass like that. Ass like that. Ass like that.
Yeah. Ass like that, get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper. I'm going to find it. I'm going to try and put it on the clip.
Stick it on the
post. End. Ted doesn't like Dougal watching TV. He calls it chewing gum for the eyes.
Yeah.
Is that something you're in agreement with?
Pretty much, yeah. I don't like to watch too much TV, but I love Dougal's response, which I thought was another one of the more underrated ones, where he just goes, no thanks, Ted. Yeah. And then the idea of having chewing gum for the eyes is just, in a way, he's one step ahead of Father Ted by going, well, no, that would be a horrible idea, wouldn't it? So I quite enjoyed that line, but that's another one which I think would be more popularised, but
it just sort of passed by. But I'll tell you what, I fucking hate chewing gum. The very idea of chewing gum, it's sacrilegious. If you chew something, you're supposed to swallow it. That's God's way.
You're getting the stomach and the gums excited for something that ultimately they're not going to get.
Exactly.
You're mouth teasing, digestion tease.
Yeah, that can't be good for your innards. Like if your stomach's secreting like acid in anticipation of like getting a full whack of food, and then it never actually appears.
You just deny it. But then if you swallow the chewing gum, that can present all sorts of different issues.
Yeah, it starts tying all your major arteries together and stuff. That's what I was led to believe.
And if you eat seeds, a tree will grow in you.
This is also true, yeah. So you never eat apples all the way into the middle.
No.
When people have chewing gum, they don't know what to do with it, so they just stick it under chairs or under tables or something.
Even on the ground.
Yeah. It's a public menace.
Yeah, but people are going to do what they're going to do. They want to chew stuff.
Well, weed is banned, but chewing gum's not. What kind of world is this?
Well, you don't chew weed, do you?
I'm sure there's an outlet where you could, if you
could try.
You could try.
Get weed chewing gum.
I'm sure somebody in Amsterdam could probably sell you some weed chewing gum.
Not for the eyes, though.
Not for the eyes, yeah. You keep it away from the eyes.
No thanks, Ted.
Dougal is actually eating stuff, and he's got his crisps here, so just play the clip there, Ash, and see what he has to say for himself.
What a revelation that is. Two flavour crisps in one go.
Well, exactly, that's 4 flavours he's getting: cheese, onion, salt and vinegar, all in one morsel.
Is that the optimal flavour combination, do you reckon?
Well, I would take the vinegar out. Apart from the vinegar, that seems like quite a nice combo to me.
Salt, cheese and onion?
Yeah.
I don't know, something like smoky bacon and maybe prawn cocktail, because they're both kind of smoky as well. I think they might work.
See, I haven't had prawn cocktail in absolute years.
Tayto prawn cocktail's the only one to go with, though.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing I was about to bring up. Did you notice what type of Tayto he had?
What type of crisps he had, or what type of Tayto?
What type of Tayto?
What type would be the southern Tayto?
It was the Free State Tayto, the inferior Tayto, in my opinion.
A lot of people say otherwise, but
Free Staters say that.
It's weird. You'd see boxes and bags of Tayto in. There's a couple different documentaries I've seen where you'd see bags of Tayto in the background. This is somewhere in America, and you're like, this is amazing. Yeah, and it's northern Tayto as well.
Good, proper Tayto.
But you thought, given that they filmed that over in London, the northern Tayto might have been easier to get, or I guess Graham and Arthur just grabbed a couple of bags on their way over.
They might have done. See, there is a thing over in London. I was living there for a few years. That Tesco had the corner of an aisle of just Irish produce.
Oh, right.
And it was a southern Tayto that they would have stocked. So it might have been easier, but I don't know if Tesco were necessarily doing that back in the mid-90s.
No, probably not. Although there's southern chocolate is better.
Which chocolate?
Dairy milk southern.
Is there a difference? I've never noticed the difference.
It's creamier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Check that out next
time. I will. They can't win the crisps. They could win the chocolate.
Yeah, I think they are, especially as the chocolate has now been taken over and by Americans, I think, and
craft foods and so.
So, but the South's still strong.
They've kept it. They've kept it
so
pure.
Far.
Brilliant. So Dougal and Ted realise that they're going to have to fix this roof, and they have to come up with an idea of how they're going to get some money. Do you know any Bruce Willis films off the top of your head that have the bank heist in them?
I was thinking that whenever I rewatched the episode, I was thinking, what Bruce Willis films around then would have been popular, like Die Hard, obviously, but that's kind of a heist movie, but Bruce Willis isn't the one robbing the place.
No.
It's Al Rickman.
It is Alan, the late great.
Everyone's dead now. It's a bit worrying.
I was going to bring that up later actually, but I'll bring it up now. Speaking of everyone dead, Dermot Morgan just this weekend actually has had a plaque dedicated to him in Dublin. So the plaque says, pioneering Irish comedian, creator and co-writer of radio satire Scrap Saturday, BAFTA winning star Father Ted was born and lived most of his life in Mount Marion. And there's a little plaque, Dermot Morgan, 1952 to 1998. Actor, writer, iconoclast and satirist. What's an iconoclast?
I don't know. Like, well, if you break it down, icon.
Yeah.
He was sort of, like it says there, a pioneer of what he did. Could be that.
I don't know. I've heard the word before, just never actually got a definition of it. But I just wanted to bring that up in the episode.
That's nice.
That came up in my research this morning actually, so it must be very new. But so they want to wake Jack up, and you notice they have to use like a 10-foot barge pole.
Yes, telescopic as well.
Telescopic, so
easy storage.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, why everything in the world isn't telescopic? You know, why not make drain pipes that are telescopic, so you can pack about 20 of them into a van and then just release them up the way.
That sounds like when they take the roads in Craggy Island. So it's not raining, so let's take the drain pipes down.
Yeah,
and just put them back up when they're needed.
Just as and when.
Yeah,
ad hoc. And we get an introduction to Father Finnegan, the dancing priest. Well, before we actually introduce him himself, he was done a walk across America. Well, he did a dance across America, and he got mugged every 15 miles. So even back then, America had this
reputation
of being a lawless
and dance-hating nation.
Yeah, and of course today, this very morning, we've had another tragedy in Orlando where a nightclub had a mass shooting.
It is dance-related.
Yeah, so I mean, I heard a stunning statistic. This is 170th odd mass shooting in America this year, the 7th this week. So getting mugged every 15 miles, you actually did alright, I think.
Every 15 miles? How wide is America? Like, what's the average then? How many times would you have got mugged?
Well, I think it's about 3,500 miles across, isn't it?
So 15. This is pretend miles mumbling.
So
that's quite a lot.
200 times, I would say.
Yeah.
So it is quite a lot. Yeah. How many times wallets would you have to buy?
After, say, the third or fourth, you'd probably think, you know what, I'll just stop carrying money on me.
Well, yeah, I don't carry cash, but American society sort of forces you to carry cash.
Yeah.
Like, the way we can have everything on a card now, and like contactless cards, you never really need to have cash on you. Whereas in America, like, they charge you every time you use your ATM to get your own money out, so you necessarily want to get out as much as possible in one transaction.
Yeah, they still use the swipe as well. Chip and pin is still not being embraced very much.
Yeah.
The whole idea that you just swipe the card, like you see in American films, which I've never seen done here, even when I was younger. Chip and pin, they're not willing, so they're actually going to skip the whole chip and pin and move to contactless.
Oh, okay.
Because people just get upset. They're like, why do I have to put the card in the machine? Why do I have to remember a pin number and all this? Apparently it's quite upsetting, and all the technology's there, but it's just they don't implement it because they don't like it.
Yeah, they don't like change over there, do they? I do remember a bit in Home Alone. Do you remember in Home Alone 2 when he goes into the flashy hotel and he's got his dad's credit card, and they have this machine, this contraption where it just sort of slides something across the top of the credit card and then slides it back, and that's the transaction.
Yeah, that creates like a sort of, it's almost like a photocopy or receipt where they have an imprint of the card.
Just the card number.
If they need the details, they have it later. I think I've used that once or twice in my life when I worked in a shop.
Right.
And it was very, very odd. It was like a paper slicer machine. It was very strange.
Yeah, it looked like a guillotine or something.
Yeah, it's very odd. But yeah, they just take an imprint of the card details.
And then they charge it afterwards, I suppose. Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well,
foolproof cash methods for everybody there.
Yeah, just throw your cash everywhere. They need to get a car off Father Finnegan because he's just got the lend of one off the priest, or off the diocese. Sorry. So they want to use that as a cash prize. Basically, they're going to borrow the car, use it as a prize in a raffle, which they can use to fundraise, and then fix the raffle so they can get to give the car back.
Yeah, because they somehow managed to damage the car irreparably by hitting it with a hammer.
Yes.
Over and over and over again. Which, when watching it again, I was surprised that the car was actually functional. Like, how they did manage to actually drive it despite all of it hanging off.
Well, yeah, I think it was all purely aesthetic damage, and that all he was doing was just putting dents into the the metalwork. But yeah, I did drive it all the way to Father Finnegan's house
somehow,
which we can assume is on the mainland somewhere, since it was a overnight drive to get there.
That's what I thought as well, because Craggy Island's quite small, so if they were driving all night, either Craggy Island is much bigger than we realise, or they don't know where they're going, or he is on the mainland.
I think he was on the mainland. You see, they made a big issue in the third series where they called one of the episodes the mainland.
Where they went there, so.
Yeah, as if they'd never left the island. But, you know, we've been discussing they've actually left the island quite a few times already in the series. Like, it wasn't that big a thing. I think it was just that episode.
It was just called the mainland because that's where it happened.
The
mostly.
whole stuff happened, yeah.
Because they do seem to, in that later episode, they are very casual about it, and how Mrs. Doyle's meeting her friend and going to get Jack's prescriptions. So it must be a fairly fairly recurrent thing that they do that we just don't see very often.
Yeah, so they just hop over the mainland, I suppose.
But I enjoyed watching the episode because it was one of the few mentions of Belfast when he's talking to Father Finnegan, where Ted, he gets to the end of the car and he says, I think you're on a TV documentary, something about Belfast. And the guy's, no, that was another fella, he ripped it off. Don't like talking about it. You're just like, the only mention of Belfast is whenever someone stole the idea off him.
Well, I don't know where they would possibly get the idea of somebody, you know, living off somebody else's talent and just
in Belfast, surely not.
No, like I don't know. I wouldn't know if somebody tried to impersonate sort of famous characters or anything. That would be disgusting, wouldn't it?
No, I'm glad it never ever happens.
Yeah, exactly. Especially not in the Grand Opera House around Christmas with me and Joel.
No, just nothing but 100% pure, honest, original ideas,
exactly.
Full of new things.
Well, we do try in Belfast. In fact, there is actually quite a vibrant, creative enterprise in Belfast, and just nobody's chatting about it, because in the south they're all looking at Dublin, and over in our mainland, if you want, they're all chatting about London and maybe Manchester every so often. They're not even chatting about Manchester anymore. They're only chatting about London. Yeah. So, like, there's a lot of stuff happening in Belfast that I don't think is getting the sort of coverage or the attention it deserves.
Well, it depends how long that's going to go on for before everyone just gets properly fed up and goes, nah, I'm away. 'Cause I know tons of people have just fucked away off to London, and that's been the end of them, like, you know.
Well, see, I was in London. I was one of those people. I moved to London, and what I've noticed since I've come back here is that everyone I've known in London is actually moving away from there, because you can't just live in London and do anything creative. It's pricing everyone out. Like, it's not just the accommodation, it's everything, like the price of travel and all, and just, you know, it's a bit hectic and stuff. And you can be scratching out like theatre prices and stuff and higher end prices. It's just, you can't do it. So what's happening to us?
We'll just move to Milton Keynes.
I think there will be. There was, remember a few years ago, I think it was Stoke, I want to say, there was like a street where every house in the street was on sale for like £1. As long as you fixed it up and did it, it was yours. The council bought them all and wanted to sell them.
That's mad.
Why wasn't that made into a little artist's haven where they could just, you know, everyone go in, live in these run-down houses?
They wouldn't have fixed them up, though, would they?
Well, they would have brightened them up at least.
Yeah.
Would have been plenty happening in them, but
exactly.
not much else.
The original car they had, did you notice the number plate?
No, what was the number plate?
It was 96D1000. No one in the Republic of Ireland number plates like I do. That's actually a very difficult number plate to get. So basically, the Republic of Ireland number plates, 96 means the car was registered in 1996.
Okay.
D means it was registered in Dublin.
Yeah.
And 1000 means it was 1000 car registered in Dublin.
Oh, wow.
Now, the ones registered in Dublin, the first number, the set number, are all government cars or buses and stuff. So this is a very prestigious car they've got their hands on and managed to break with the little hammer.
The 1000th Dublin car in 1996.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it must have had some like official purpose, because if it gets a registration like that.
Yeah. What was the second car? Any interesting registration?
Well, that had a temporary reg. I noticed it was like the black plated one.
Oh, I see.
So I do remember my aunt bought a car down south, and when she brought it up north, had to have one of those black plated ones, but she could only have it on for a month or something, and then she had to get the
proper registration.
Yeah.
Right.
So have you ever done that? So Ted just tries to trap out a dent, and of course, in trying to fix it, he's making it slightly worse, and at the end, you finally got to the point where you just ruined everything.
That's right. I had this today actually. I was trying to help my mum with a new phone. I had an old phone. I decided to give her a phone because it was better than one she had, and her SIM card was bigger than what could fit in the phone. So I was looking up videos of how to cut around the SIM card and get it exactly right. And I'm not the best at that type of thing. So what I decided to do, right, I'll go into the O2 shop, so go all the way into town and say, can you give me like a nano SIM card or cut around this for me, because I'm an idiot and I don't know how to do anything properly. The guy was like, yeah, no problem, and he took it off me. He just popped the SIM off. It just bends through the plastic. It's built that way. And he handed it to me, and I went, right, is that it, aye? He goes, aye, that's it. Right, all the way into town, all the way back for 5 minutes of, not even, just 10 seconds
just to snap it out.
Yeah.
It could have been worse. He could have took it to the back and stood there for like 10 minutes, made a phone call or something himself, and then brought it back and said, that's going to be £25, please.
I know. I was hoping that they seemed to be in a good mood, and there wasn't that many people in there, so they were just probably just looking to go home. So we're like, yeah, mate, that's it. I was like, okay,
fair enough.
right. That could have been something where I would have destroyed the SIM card trying to do it myself. So Ted probably should have just brought it to somewhere and just got the wee dent.
Well, I mean, it's a tiny dent. I mean, if you want a card and it had a tiny little dent in it, would you be that annoyed?
Yeah, he's going to give it away, so he'd lose money going to getting fixed.
Yeah.
And he only hit someone on a bike, so I wouldn't cause that much damage.
Well, this is true. He hit somebody and he seems to hit and run them as well, because he did say, I saw him getting up.
He got up.
Yeah.
He's alright.
When Ted realises that he's fucked the car up, including folding the bumper. I don't know how he managed to fold the bumper perfectly with a tiny little hammer they had, but he managed to fuck the car up anyway, and when he realised, it was actually getting him quite anxious. So another example of Dougal's uncharacteristic competence there. He was the one with his head screwed on, but I think it was only because he didn't understand the gravity of the situation.
Yeah, or the story called for Ted to be calmed down, so Dougal had to do it.
The old-fashioned way with a good skate across the face.
Good old slap.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy that, where almost instantly Ted just goes, no, I probably did need that, but don't ever do it again.
Yeah.
Sort of that malice behind it, where it's like the status change is very, very brief, where Ted is like, right, I'm in control now, and don't you ever try and do anything like that again.
Yeah.
In case Dougal gets any ideas. But it was very sort of clear-headed of Dougal to just slap him, and he was giving him sort of reasonable.
Yeah, he was trying to actually.
It'll be okay. Don't worry about it. Whereas in most cases, Dougal, I don't think he would never have said anything like that. But if it calls for it, then it happens, and it's brief enough. So.
Well, he was trying to talk him off the ledge, and he was doing reasonably okay with it. Like, usually he makes things much worse.
Yeah.
They come up with an idea to fix the raffle, as we mentioned, and they go and they want to visit our dancing priest. On their way there, though, they run into a pack of crows. Well, a murder of crows. That's the phrase, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it what's a parliament? A parliament of ravens, is it?
Yeah, I think so. Parliament. I know it's something quite
Similar to
regal and sort of more respectful than murder.
A murder of crows.
But yeah, they like to terrorise Jack, don't they?
They do. They absolutely love him. But it's clearly a Hitchcock reference. So another horror film. They're big fans of the horror films in this show.
Yeah,
they have a lot of little tiny references to great horror films and stuff. What I've noticed today as well, and I'm gonna compile a list of this for the final episode. Jack is quite a significant drinking cabinet if we were to put everything that he drinks over the course of the show into it. So today he added Vicks nasal spray. Have you ever tasted that or any? No,
but I can imagine it wouldn't be that pleasant. Although Jack seemed to quite enjoy it.
Is there even any alcohol in it?
I think it's mostly just the what do you call it, like methylated well, not even methylated spirits, but just full of nasal and blocking power. It does smell quite strong, so in his state he probably did, it smells like booze, I'll just drink it anyway.
Yeah, well, it probably did work quite well, because just the sheer overload of the menthol into your system there.
Well, since he did that, there was no real more coughing or sneezing from him, so it must have worked.
It must have worked, actually. Yeah.
No, he didn't. He was alright from then on. So as alright as he can be, like. But
so the delivery of Vicks nasal spray is actually oral, then, is what we can gather from this.
Yeah, that's how one is supposed to administer it.
Craggy Island Pharmaceuticals 101.
Yep. Yeah. Just chug it down, whatever it is. Just throw it down you, and you'll be alright.
It'll be grand. The dancing priest actually lives quite a bit away, and on their car ride home, they put the radio on, and we do have our first Meet Your Maker of the series. Meet Your Maker is a running feature we have, where Graham Lennon and Arthur Matthews shows up in the show. Up until now, it was 2-0 to Arthur, but Graham actually gets his first goal. So pretty nondescript appearance. They just needed somebody to do a radio DJ, so they just got him in.
I always liked that because that's the same name as my granddad.
Right, John Morgan.
Whenever that episode came on the TV, my mum about, there's our John, there's him on the radio.
I see. Very nice.
So yeah, John Morgan.
Well, I found out on IMDb that John is actually Dermot Morgan's middle name, so that might have been a little thing in there. But
we reference to him just.
Yeah. So they come up with the plan to cheat, which is basically to give Dougal the easiest number they can possibly remember, number 11, and just make sure that he's the only one who gets the ticket number 11. The problem was they did go into multiple ticket books.
Yeah. And
the tickets weren't any different colours.
No, they were really just burning through them.
Yeah.
But maybe that was because in the end, as we find out, the DJ priest bought quite a lot of them, and he did seem to be checking through them quite quickly. So he probably did have other winning number 11s, but yeah, they ended up obviously the Dougal got it in the end.
Well, we'll get to that as we're coming to it. But yeah, they had the. I was just wondering, do you think they had more than one number 11 that somebody else got by accident, or were they really on the ball with it and not give it away?
Yeah, well, I think the DJ priest probably had loads of 11s, but he was too frantic trying to get in. Once he saw that he hadn't won it, he probably didn't check them all anyway. So, well,
yeah, the DJ. In fact, we'll introduce him. 1252, the Spinmaster. Do we? Yeah,
we got him gambling. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not really gambling if you're buying to win.
It's for charity, and he's definitely going to win, so he'll get 2,000.
Yeah, well, he is hedging his best, like, so.
Yeah, I felt quite bad for him, just because he obviously has ruined his life. Not just through that, as we find out later on as well. He's fending off threatening people over the phone and whatnot, but I always felt quite bad for him, especially because of that, and Harry's not a very good DJ.
Well, he's not a very good DJ, but he does have an incredible DJ setup though.
Yeah,
like, he had some great equipment there.
As Ted says, it's like NASA.
Yeah.
How do you keep track of it all? It's very easy to keep track of when you only have one record though. So
it is true.
This is the problem, but yeah, no, I always felt bad for him.
Well, you think before he stole from Ted and Dougal, he could have sold some of his higher end equipment and got closer to
some of his gear?
Yeah.
He's probably stolen that though, so
possible. Yeah. See, I was thinking he must have sold all his records, and that's why he quote unquote forgot them.
Yeah, or he could have sold them all, or maybe he was just forgetful.
Yeah. Yeah. So it turns out that, as you say, he buys 2,000 tickets, and when he's trying to frantically look through them, it reminded me of. Have you ever been in a bingo hall?
Yes.
I've seen women in bingo halls. I was visiting my cousin one time in London, and his girlfriend was really into bingo at the time, and it was bizarre because me and him hadn't seen each other for a couple of years, and we're trying to have a bit of crack.
Yeah.
But as soon as the bingo call started, the whole room went silent.
Yeah.
And then suddenly we were the only ones chatting in this room full of 150 women or something.
Yeah.
And there was ones with maybe 20 bingo cards in front of them, frantically trying to keep on top of all of them.
They're machines. It's mad. I did once go for an interview to be a bingo caller.
And really? Right.
He was explaining the whole system, and I was expecting them to be the bingo balls and all, but it's just all machines, and they just flash up, and you don't get a chance to properly announce the numbers. You just go blue 34, green 18. You just go through it on the microphone, so there was no sort of showmanship or sort of fun that you could have with it. And he was like, "Look, mate, just read out the numbers, alright? You're not a game show host." And I was like, "Well, this is the appeal,
Yeah.
But in the end, I found it too stressful. I didn't even go for one show.
So they don't do the two little ducks anymore, or anything?
No, there's no room for all that nonsense apparently.
Yeah, because they rattle through them. It's like they just deliver them
It is quite
and it's networked all across the UK as well, as far as I could gather.
Yeah.
So we were in one in London. It might have been somebody in Scarborough that actually won the jackpot.
Yeah. It's absolute madness.
Yeah.
It's a proper system. It's no fun. It doesn't seem fun.
I remember getting toys. We had this little big massive cage with balls in it. You'd spin the cage around, and every so often a ball would actually fall through, and that'd be the one you picked.
It's all machines now. Everything's all machine.
Or a nice little game to play to get you hooked on the gambling in the first place.
Yeah, quite an innocent game until it becomes nationalised, you're saying, and it's a whole big racket. But bingo's done by machines. Money's done by machines.
Is there horse racing's done on computers now?
You can get computer horses now.
Yeah. I remember going to Bookies and with my mate, I was going to see Woking play in a first round FA Cup match, and I thought, oh okay, I'll put a tenner on Woking to support the home team. And he went in and he did the computer horse race, and I was like, do you not realise how open to abuse that is?
Yeah.
If 70% of people put their money in number 1, surely they're going to make number 8 win.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Who am I to judge?
Do they shoot the horses if they don't win digitally?
And Mrs. Doyle, but I've been trying to keep a running tally of the amount of times.
Go on.
We're up to 29 so far.
And this is how many episodes? Series 2, episode 2.
So this is the 8th episode overall.
Oh, that's okay. That's not too bad then.
There was one episode she said 25. So if you took that one episode out, she's only got 4 out of 7. So
it must have been just that one episode that popularised it then?
I think so. But if you can play it there, what do you say? Again, she doesn't say it in this one. Even when she actually takes the tea off her, she's like, "Oh well, I'll have more for you ready when you're done with that." But she doesn't actually say it that much. Again, I'm going back to this.
Did she say the 25 in the last episode, or was it in series 1?
It was in series 1. It was the Henry Sellers episode.
Ah, right.
I made the BBC.
So I thought maybe they would have really, went on with the go-ons in the second episode or second series once they realised that people quite liked that, and it was more to do with how the viewers liked that catchphrase more than them. But obviously they filmed all the episodes and then put them out before they could really get the effect of her catchphrase.
Well, see, there would have been quite a gap, and I do actually want to speak about the difference of what's happened between the end of that first series and second series. But I think she hated doing that. I really do, because she doesn't actually show up on. They made a documentary for the 20th anniversary, and she wouldn't actually contribute. She refused
to go on. I read a few interviews with her, and she was very much of the opinion that she didn't want to be, not so much typecast, but that's the only thing that someone would remember her for.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's fine. That's fine, but the whole fact that like Dermot Morgan passed immediately after, and that documentary was beautiful. It was so nice, and got quite emotional watching it. And they went back to the tea house and all that, or the parochial house, which is a tea house, and you could even tell from watching that documentary it seemed a bit sour whenever she didn't appear or they mentioned her and she just wasn't there. You kind of got the impression that they weren't really happy about that either.
Well, see, if they had just showed the documentary without mentioning that, I don't think I would have noticed or been reminded that she wasn't there. I would have just assumed that it's a scheduling conflict or something. But they did seem to make a point of saying we had contacted her, she didn't want to appear. And as you say, I think it is that that she's probably walking on the street every day and still getting, would you like a cup of tea? Yeah. And in sort of sympathy to her, we haven't actually seen very much from Mrs. Doyle apart from offers of tea. Like, and the only other character beat she's got is that she hates women. And that's pretty much all we've got so far. So, and
falling out windows.
Yes, so that too, it's a very, from an actor's point of view, you want a really meaty sort of role, and it was a very sort of one-dimensional role.
Well, then that was the same with Frank Kelly, a wonderful theatrical actor, was just not reduced to, but seemed to quite enjoy getting the makeup on and just saying feckin' arse.
Well, that was the other thing I was going to say. I mean, we're both actors, we're both trying to make it. Like, it does seem a bit,
for a show that's so fondly remembered, and you'll be remembered forever for it. It's a bit, especially now where there's people will be lucky to be known for something like that, and so universally liked it. But anyway, it's up to her, like.
Yeah, exactly. But that's, so I say she probably insisted, can we not say that anymore because I'm getting tortured by it. So we'll see how it goes anyway. But we're still at 29. So we've got another addition to our film club as well. There's a Craggy Island film club we're going to do. The Sting, when Dougal gets involved in the debauchery of cheating in the raffle, that he feels that he's Paul Newman and Ted is Robert Redford the other way around. Have you ever seen this thing?
No, I have not. No.
It's an enjoyable film. It's not going to set the world alight or anything, or stop groundbreaking or anything, but it's a fun film to watch at 4 p.m. on a hungover Sunday. Like,
I quite enjoy when he said that. There was quite a visual, subtle joke of him talking about how cool they are, then accidentally walks on the wrong side of the door. Yeah. And then nothing happens, and then he just and he just walks around the door. I always just enjoy that. There's so little to it, but it's so funny.
It's actually a brilliant visual gag. I have noted it down here. So the camera is looking perpendicular to the open door, and you just see Dougal walk behind the door from the camera's perspective, and you think nothing of it until a second or two later he just comes back around and actually goes out the door.
Ted just shakes his head.
Yeah. So he's managed to walk as far as he could into the wall before realising, hang on, this isn't the way we go here, and have to come back around.
I've just briefly forgotten how doorways work.
Yeah. So Mrs. Doyle is a stickler for detail, because her looking number is number 11, which we know is already been assigned to Dougal, and she'll have number 11 or nothing. Do you have any lucky numbers or anything?
I quite like the number 47.
47, right? That's a Hitman, is it not?
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's why I liked it. Because I had the original game on PC, and it was full of bugs and didn't really work half the time, and it was very, very difficult. And I quite liked that because through playing it, you figured out the ways that you figured out how to take advantage of the bugs to your own benefit.
Okay.
So you go, well, this door doesn't work, but that's good because then it means no one can come through here either. So it was working against the game in ways that the people didn't intend. But yeah, I like 47.
Well, I played Hitman 2.
Silent Assassin.
Yeah, on the PS2, and I did actually love it. But how did it make 47 your lucky number then?
Just because, and it's one of those things where it's like confirmation bias, where you're like, oh, I like that number, and then you start noticing it everywhere. I forget the term for it, but if you pick a number, you will then start saying it everywhere. It doesn't mean that it's a special number or that it is following you. It's just that you're now noticing it, whereas before you wouldn't have anyway.
If somebody asked me for a lucky number, I would just immediately say the 7, I suppose, but that's just the run-of-the-mill one, isn't it?
It's like another Bruce Willis film, Lucky Number 11.
Ah, yes, yeah.
It's not 7 though, Slevin. But yeah, Father Ted predates that film, so they couldn't have seen that.
Yeah, no, they couldn't have seen that. I was thinking maybe like one of the westerns or something he did earlier on, but even then, like Last Man Standing, I haven't actually seen that. Is there a bank robbery in that?
I don't think so. Yeah. I think it might just be well, obviously because
just generic action hero.
Yeah, here's this. You know what the old films are like. You know, Scooby Dog and all those rap fellas and all that sort of stuff, where they just have a vague idea of what's happening, but not really. But I did have fun trying to think, what film could they be talking about?
Well, I did go on IMDb, but I couldn't find anything in the time I had. In the background to Father Billy O'Dwyer getting his tickets, you might have heard a Kraftwerk type band that were there to fill up the space. Have you any opinions on Kraftwerk?
Alright, like I like the
other robots.
I like the visual aspect to them, which they quite nicely parodied, with just the one guy hitting the cymbal. That was it.
Well, they would have come out around the same time as the Big Lebowski. This episode, well, it might have been a few years earlier actually, who also had a sort of very heavy Kraftwerk influenced band.
Once Kraftwerk were done, then people were the sort of go-to pastiche of that sort of thing was then the Blue Man Group, because they had an unusual sort of setup. So it would have been Kraftwerk, the Blue Man Group, and I don't know what people reference now when they want to make that kind of reference. When they want just a very striking visual band or something, I suppose. Yeah. What kind of building was it? Could you figure out? Where? That they had the raffle in? It seemed to be like a sports clubhouse or something, I was thinking. Like a sort of social club or something that would probably have normally been a bingo hall or something like that. Because you don't see that in any other episodes. No, it's a one-off. It's one-off location, yeah. But it did seem to be like a sort of rural social club you would get. Yeah, it did. It reminded me of actually a couple of GAA clubhouses. Yeah, something like that. Like a small club. Like I remember, I used to be a member of Talleyrand GAA club and Fintona GAA club, and they'd have little sort of clubhouses, wee socials, and there'd be a pub there where you get drinks for like £1.20, and you'd have all sorts of raffles and stuff, and people, because it was the only place the country ones could actually walk to, that always go there. Yeah. It did seem to be something like that. Well, in one of the rooms there, Jack ran into a priest who maybe wasn't quite up to the entertaining standards that Jack's used to. Oh jeez, did you ever get cornered by people like that who insist on talking but have nothing to talk about? In my job working in an office, and I spend a lot of time on the phone with people like that, where you're just trying to get certain bits of information, and they will go on and on and on, go on. But yeah, no, I quite like that character just because the unrelenting just stream of absolute garbage and nonsense stories, where I can see where we get that idea for having that person as a priest, because you would get people out in the country like that who would just go on and they talk the biggest load of nonsense. Oh yeah, I've met a lot of people like that, and a lot of what he's chatting about is just household stuff and mortgages and saving your gas bills and stuff. And I'm at the age now where all my friends are getting mortgages, including the person to my left here. But you're not the worst. But
the gas was already sorted. Eamon had got us on budget energy.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we got one of their letters there as well. In that in the conversation and later on as well, the fact that he does seem to be quite droning and boring, but when you actually listen to what he's saying, it seems quite mad and quite dangerous, and like running the electricity off the gas and the gas off the electricity. Then later on there's like insurance issues where someone actually saw him drive the car into the wall, and you're like, well, his life does, despite his constant droning, it does seem to be quite exciting and a bit dangerous, this guy, which is interesting. But I can't blame Jack for nearly punching him in the face. Yeah, Ted had to actually physically stop Jack. It was brilliant timing as well, because the Father Austin Purcell, his name was, he was winding up to the end of what seemed like the end of a point, but he didn't actually get to it, and Jack was just raising his arm ever so slightly, and Ted just quickly raised his hand and just jumped in. But Ted, as we've discovered in a few previous episodes, absolutely hates silences, so he must have loved this guy. Yeah. And it's a pity he just didn't have enough time to have a good Doyle chat with him.
Yeah, I don't know if he would ever have got a word in, because any time that Ted actually does, he tries to actually get him to buy a ticket, and he goes, what sort of tickets are those? Because you can get them down in the shops now, and he goes on and on and on. So I don't know if you could ever have any sort of meaningful conversation with him, but yeah, God, him and Father Stone in the same room would be interesting. I don't know who would crack first.
Those two would be perfect. If Father Stone wouldn't talk, this guy would talk endlessly.
Should put them in the same parish.
Yeah.
See how that works out.
I mean, there's so many brilliant misconnections. Ted seems to be the only one that sees these people together. If only they had more matchmaking powers.
Sounds like a spin-off, doesn't it? We'll get
does.
a Better Call Saul going.
Yeah.
So Jack, when stumbling around this clubhouse, he stumbles upon the drinks cabinet, which was very badly secured, I thought.
Yeah, just a big open room full of booze, which he's very happy about after listening to him.
Yeah.
Father Purcell go on and on, and so he sort of has fun with all the booze. But I noticed later on when he's actually leaving the room and crunches up a can and goes, "Need more drink." He's left quite a lot of the drink untouched in the background.
I did not notice that.
I don't know whether it's because despite him being able to drink everything, he still has some tastes. So if there was like a big, big loads of packs of Tennants lying there, would Father Jack drink that?
I don't think so.
Over toilet duck, I go for the toilet duck. So would I.
I would too. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about Tenant Super versus Castrol GTX,
yeah, the Castrol all the way.
Yeah,
but
and clean out your innards too. Like.
He leaves quite a lot behind, and I've always wondered why. Is it just because he doesn't like what's there, but he drinks everything, or is he just so and he really doesn't realise that there's still so much?
Well, see, I actually assumed he had drank the bar dry, and he still wanted more. But maybe, like you mentioned that, maybe he just couldn't open the packaging.
Yeah,
because they are really annoying. I work in bars. Opening fucking drinks packets when they're secured is a pain in the arse. You went to little paper cuts, just a level up from paper cuts, just all over your hands, trying to get these things open. And we have another contribution to the Craggy Island playlist as well, Ghost Town by the Spatials. Do you have any opinions in that particular tune? It's a stone cold classic now in the British pop lexicon.
Well, that's it. That's pretty much why I like it so much, because it's the Father Ted National Anthem.
Yeah,
it's a good song as well, though. I do like it. It is very reminiscent of Craggy Island itself, because it is such a grim, awful place.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like the song.
Yeah, it's an absolutely brilliant song, and it was genuinely groundbreaking at the time. I think, like the actual musicality of it.
Yeah.
Well, and Two Tone Records, the record label, that became then the name of the genre that was in. Two Tone Records, and the Spatials and Madness, and Vince and people chat all about this, and who Sirius is always into. But Ghost Town became a #1 hit as well. It's a very odd, like, you can't imagine a song like that being #1 these days.
No, it's it is a very unique song, but then you don't get very many unique songs, as if I know what I'm talking about. But those sorts of songs don't become popular now. At least it doesn't seem that way.
I mean, it could just be back in my day blinkerism, but I genuinely don't think that whoever's guarding the gates at the Radio 1 playlist, they are just taking the safer options every time, or if they're taking more experimental options, they necessarily go for grime or dance music or that sort of thing, and that sort of end of it. So maybe this year a new band will come out and just completely wipe the floor with everything we said, and
just get Ghost Town too.
With the new Nirvana. Everyone's going to be the new Nirvana. Never materialises. Dougal, of course, wins the raffle. He doesn't quite realise.
No, he doesn't understand how numbers work, unfortunately.
It seems that way, yeah.
Where he has number 11, and Ted repeatedly calls out 11 number, and you can see Mrs. Doyle at the back of the room absolutely disgusted.
She's furious because that's what she wanted.
That pack didn't come with 11s apparently, but like you said earlier, he could have just said 11 blue or use a different colour, but then obviously I hadn't thought this through.
Well, they didn't think Mrs. Doyle was going to be such a stickler. I bet she has the same lottery numbers every week.
11, just 6 11s. 11. She never wins.
No, exactly. There was that bit in The Simpsons, of course, when they won the lottery and they couldn't afford to do the lottery that week, and their numbers came out. And
Kent Brockman said the $670,000 jackpot. he had won the $100 million the previous week, and still works as a newsman for some reason.
So as we said, standing for our national anthem. Have you seen what that's a sort of parody of? The playing the national anthem at the end of Just Goes, or club nights or anything.
I haven't seen it happen, but I know that it still happens.
It does still happen. It is. I find it quite bizarre, to be honest. It's this sort of hangover from a very patriotic era in Irish history, when, you know, back in the 80s, Ireland was really trying to identify itself as a sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Self-contained country or whatever. So the national anthem, just like in Britain, the national anthem we play at the end of RT's broadcast. But it would also be in pubs and clubs. Like, I've been in pubs in London, well, in Belfast and London actually, where you'd get the dirtiest looks if you didn't stand up for or on the vein. Like, you'd nearly start a fight if you didn't stand to attention. Like, I was in a pub in the Falls Road. We were doing a play over in Cultureland, yeah. We were doing a play over in Cultureland, and we went to the pub across the road, and there's this boy just playing songs on acoustic, and at the end he played the Soldier Song, and some boy at the bar turned around to us all, a group of about 10 or 12 of us. Would you all stand up for your national anthem? And it was like, we were a mixed group, and it was just that the fact that they were all, you know, realising that diplomacy might just be the better option here, and everyone's just stood up.
Just in case.
In London, Jesus, I've gone to pubs in London just purely to watch a Gaelic football match, to watch a Tyrrell match, and they have the national anthem at the start, and Jesus, the place goes deadly silent. It's eerie, like.
I've never been. I've been to London a few times, but I've never been in the pub at the end of the night because they close so early. And by the time I'm looking to go to the pub, I realise there's probably about 10 minutes before it shuts, so I don't get to go. And then you have to go to a club. I'll just go to bed.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I'll just go to bed. Forget it.
They found out after the raffle's been won, after they fixed the competition, that Father Finnegan tragically had a heart attack. And after a moment, Ted and Dougal realised that that means they can actually keep the car now.
Yes.
So they're actually quids in.
Yeah, they're up.
Yeah, they're about to get away with it. But then Jack comes in and reveals to them that he's been on a trip to the off licence. So let's hear what happened. I love the efficiency of his description. I mean, that's the way every traffic report should be done. Like, just
cars west, no. Down. I love that whenever he came in. He says, where have you been, Father? And he just said, drive the car. He really sort of sings that line out of him. It's just really nice. And then he says, tell me the truth, Father, have you been drinking? And he's just like covered in booze, sitting there with a case of beer and all. You're like, do you really need to ask that, Ted? So, he's been drinking. I suppose he has to get the full facts, I suppose. He was drinking Powers. Have you seen Powers? I haven't seen Powers in about 15 years. No, I haven't seen that.
Powers whiskey. That used to be
a long
everywhere.
time.
My dad drinks that. I think he was having that recently.
The Powers whiskey,
Gets a wee Powers.
Yeah.
You never really get Powers now.
It's all it's all Bushmills and Jameson. Both of them have been around for ages. Like, but Powers used to be also in that sort of bracket.
Top tier, but no, not so much.
They seemed very blasé that the car wasn't where they left it when they left the.
Yeah, good
raffle.
point.
Didn't even seem to notice this. I assume they got a lift home with Austin Purcell, and that's why he was in the house. But why was there never an investigation as to where this car has disappeared to?
And also, if Father Austin drove, as we find out, someone saw him drive his car into a wall, so he can't drive. So who drove? Yeah,
and he's not fully. Well, is he fully insured?
Don't know.
I'm sure he'll tell us.
He'll tell us at some point. But yeah, that's a good point. They didn't notice the car, and you'd think that, given that they obviously ripped off the entire island, that there would be
hightailing it out there.
Yeah, so maybe they just ran and got out there as soon as they could, and not worried about the car so much. So maybe that's what it was.
Possibly. We'll let them away with it anyway, because we're picking holes in in the plot here. But there was excellent crumple zones in that car. Excellent crumple zones.
It was good so long as you weren't in the back seat.
True. But if you were in the front seat,
you're grand.
Yeah, and there's almost perfect zigzagging. So great engineering there by Rover.
Yeah, except for any kids.
In
the back seat. But he
perfect priest car then.
He did say 2 trucks. And the way he smashed the cancer guy, you think, oh no, he's completely crushed. But the 2 trucks must have just hit the back of him, and then another one hit the back of him. Unless the front of the car is so well manufactured, the truck can hit it. The truck, fine. But that's one of the great visual jokes there as well, where you just realise that, oh no, it doesn't look too bad. Nah, it's completely destroyed.
It's rode off completely, and Joe doesn't reckon it's too bad either.
No, sure, he's fine. He's fine with it. It's not too bad, Ted.
But he never has to sit in the back seat. See, Jack would be sitting in the back seat.
Yeah, drinking Vicks.
Yeah,
Vicks vapor rub or whatever it is.
And we briefly get a map of where Craggy Island is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they show the weather forecast.
Oh yes, that's
And
right.
Just the peninsula between Galway and Kerry on the Shannon estuary.
Yeah.
There's a little island that, as far as I'm aware, is not on Google Maps.
No, when you see that weather forecast, where's Rugged Island? Did you always they're the opposite of, well, they're a mirror of Craggy Island. So they're maybe on the other side of the island.
They must be, yeah.
Or something like that.
But yeah, they must get terrible weather and terrible tides there.
They get the brunt of everything,
Yeah.
being literally in the middle of the Atlantic by the looks of things. So, so it's not surprising then whenever the forecaster says we'll probably get rain straight through to July and maybe even August.
Yeah.
And they're just sitting there getting absolutely soaked.
Well, exactly, because the roof hasn't been fixed yet, so they're just taken to camping on the sofa with waterproofs all over them. It's not a very pleasant way to look at the next few months, is it?
It's you'd think it would be similar to the one where I can't remember what episode it is, but it ends with them basically going into hibernation in giant cardboard boxes because the boiler broke or something like that.
That's right.
So you think they may as well should have done that, but unfortunately the money's gone because the DJ priest has lifted it. Otherwise his legs may get broken. So it's
well,
a bit
surely
unfortunate.
they could have come up with a more creative way to harness all this water. Made like a theme park, a water park or something.
Could have done, but you know, a priest attended water park sounds a bit. Sounds a bit suspect.
Iffy.
Well, it could be like the field. They could do that. It's a seasonal water park in the parochial house.
Just lasts till July.
Yeah, just do that. That seems to be alright.
So what did you think of the episode then, yourself?
I thought it was very good. It was very well, like all of them. It's very tight, and you get to see a lot of new characters.
Yeah.
First, and then for the only time, which I quite like because if you were to see, most of those characters, if you were to see them over an extended period of time, you'd go, right, well, we get what his thing is and he served his purpose and that's it. But no, it was a very good episode, and I liked the seeing some I guess what you call normal inhabitants of Craggy Island who actually attended the disco.
Yes, yeah.
And they seem to be quite fed up with all serious amount of priests on the island in comparison to the people.
It seems to be just some sort of commune where priests just sort of go for a bit of to let their hair down.
But no, I thought it was very good. There's a good mix of stuff in there. Not so much violence in this one.
No, it wasn't as cartoonish. It was a bit more straight laced, wasn't it?
I thought it was interesting that the whole problem came around not as a result of something that Jack or Dougal did. It was Ted hitting the car with a hammer. It was him that done everything, because usually it would be the other more zany characters have got him into this and he has to get them out. This time it was all on him.
Yeah, it was just, and then it wasn't just that. Then it was his greed that he thought he could. Oh, okay, hang on, we can make something of this.
Yeah, rather than just have the raffle.
Yeah,
it would have been alright.
He started off innocently enough. He just wanted the roof fixed, but
you got a bit carried away. Are you keeping a running poll of how many characters have died?
I wasn't, no, but
there's the dancing priest. He's dead.
Yes, the obituary section. We'll have to start that. Yeah, who else have we had so far then? So we've had we had Jack, but that was sort of a half one.
Yeah, I'd say that probably wasn't the first time he had died either. I'd say he's come back to life many times.
He has seen the light a lot, I'd say.
But there's the priest. I forget the priest's name, but he always rings in or Ted rings at the most inopportune times.
Okay, yes.
And he is involved in situations where you think he'd definitely be dead, but he somehow manages to survive.
I thought there was a class episode. I don't think it'll be a top 5 though. When I get to the end of this, it was a solid rather than spectacular episode.
Yeah, I mean there was the real big point in that episode, I think, was the car. The two cars, how they both got destroyed. Yeah, it's funny because they both look very good on TV once you see them actually wrecked. But like I said to you before we started recording, this is one of the episodes, as well as maybe the Lent one, which is always on TV. Yeah. And I think maybe due to overexposure, it's not one of my favourites either.
I think that might have affected my opinion of it as well, that I've been a bit overexposed to it, because like I've mentioned before, that I do this show every Christmas or thereabouts, where it's a tribute show to Father Ted, and a lot of it is based on this episode. Yeah. So I'm quite familiar with the storyline and everything. But having said that, there was some bits where I did just laugh out loud at stuff I'd forgotten about. Yeah. It was a great episode for Declan Lowney, the director, because there was absolutely brilliant costume design and just set design. Like Father Finnegan's house. Father Finnegan is our obituary this week. Yes. But his house was wonderfully, like, with guitars.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail that goes into all of them. It's strange. I don't know if you would get so much out of a one you set in TV shows now.
Exactly.
Whereas, I guess it's probably easier because obviously he's the dancing priest and then there's a boring priest and there's this, so you kind of know, let's throw everything that we can think of that is almost larger in life and cartoonish about this. What would a dancing priest have? And you sort of go, well, they'll have all this.
Yeah.
You don't really need to labour too much because you're only going to say it once, so you may as well throw everything you got into it to get a bigger impact on it.
Exactly. The waistcoat that the Spinmaster wears.
That's a good waistcoat.
I like that waistcoat.
It's nice. He is very show businessy in that rural Irish way.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, got the wee waistcoat on. Oh, it's going to be great crack.
Yeah, you could imagine him in a show band or something, couldn't you?
Yeah, or playing a wagon wheel over and over again. I'm surprised if they were to do that now, that would be the one record he had. Just Nathan Carter's Wagon Wheel over and over again, because that pretty much is the national anthem of Ireland these days.
I don't know what rural Ireland's obsession with country music, not even country music, just terrible country music is.
Terrible American country music. Well, country music it's almost parodying American country music, but happy.
Yeah, the Donegal country.
Yeah.
Oh god, it drives me mental.
Because at least in some American country music, it's quite a sad story involved.
Yeah.
Whereas this is Hugo Duncan, happy, smiley country music, which just makes you want to kill yourself.
Luckily enough, yeah.
It was a good episode. I liked that.
Yeah. Well, they got a 8.4 on IMDb, and to put that into perspective, grant unto him eternal rest. The last episode of the first series got 8.1. The episode with Graham Norton, Hell, got 8.8. So it's not as popular with the fans as the Graham Norton episode, and I would tend to agree with that. I think that episode's a bit stronger.
Yeah, I found that the Graham Norton episodes kind of divide people. Some people really like it, and some people hate it because of his character.
Yeah,
but that's kind of the
joke,
point.
Yeah.
Where because Graham Norton isn't like that. Like when you see him now, when he's like super famous and he has his own cool chat show, you kind of think, oh, he's in Father Ted, being that really annoying priest, who's so over the top. And I don't know why people don't like those episodes. Just the whole point is that he's annoying,
that he just drives you mental with his hyper energy.
But the grant unto him eternal rest one, I quite like the end of that episode where Ted does the a bit of the Yeats poem, isn't it? I think. Is it a Yeats poem? I think it is. Where he's talking, I can't even quote it now, I can't remember, but it's I actually, when I was listening back, I've actually released the episode today, so I've been listening to the edit and everything. I didn't actually realise it's not a rhyming poem or anything. No.
It seems just be, I thought he was just practicing his ceremony, but it possibly is a Yeats poem. It
is a poem. I can't remember if it's Yeats, but it's not for verbatim either.
Okay.
It's bits and pieces, but the poem itself, I think it's a Yeats poem, but it is a really beautiful piece. And once I watched the episode when I was younger, and then once I read that poem, I recognised it. I was like, oh, and then I watched the episode again. I was like, oh, this is quite nice, quite sad.
It is, and it's delivered beautifully, and the shot of the
gravestones and all.
And the way the ceremony was, like the snow falls on the hillsides and on the things and everything. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Yeah. So you've been watching Ted a long time then, have you?
Yeah. For as long as I remember, my first memory of Father Ted is my dad telling me that Father Ted is dead.
Right. Okay.
I was in my uncle's house and he said to me, Father Ted's dead, so there'll be no more. And I must have been about 6 or 7 or something.
Right. Yeah.
So I knew, and I felt really, really sad. And I was like, obviously, I could understand death there, but I was just saddened.
It was very sudden, wasn't it? Yeah.
I was like, oh, all right. But yeah, so I can't remember the first time watching it, but I remember whenever I knew there wasn't going to be any more. So, but there wasn't going to be any more anyway. So
everyone thinks, oh, it could have went on forever. They had no plans. They had no intention to.
It's probably for the best as well.
Because they would be clamouring for people for them to do a rerun or a Christmas special, or every band is doing a reunion now. Like they would be under a lot of pressure just to keep pumping them out every year.
Because I think the only further appearance of those characters was in some adverts. I think Mrs. Doyle appeared in an advert for something.
Right.
And you think it was a bit strange.
I don't
especially after I think this was all after he died as well.
Okay, right.
But I remember watching it and going, it's a bit in bad taste. You won't appear in a documentary, but you'll do an ad.
Yeah, that's just what just came into my head when you just mentioned that.
Keeps coming back. I don't know. I'm a bit upset about that, but then, like I say, that's if she doesn't want to appear or acknowledge it, that's fine.
Yeah, I just think it's a bit of a shame that she has. She has sort of that. It might be just because she was trying to get shameless and everything at the time, and she was
Yeah.
trying to do other stuff, that maybe she was just trying to please just stop talking to me
Just
for
forget
Father Ted
about
and need to concentrate on this, or else I'm going to be signing on for the rest of my life.
Yeah. He's the Daniel O'Donnell. The Pat McDonnell is the actor that plays him. Owen McLove.
Yeah.
Anytime he's a stand-up comic, and anytime he does a show, it's Father Ted's Owen McLove, Pat McDonnell. He's like, right, okay, and he has that whole thing where it's like, I've no Willie, and he gets that over and over again.
Does he, right? Because I have actually seen him do stand-up. My friend was doing a stand-up down in Noma, and Owen McLove, was it Pat McDonnell?
Pat McDonnell.
Yeah, he was the headliner, and
Yeah.
Jared, my friend, hopefully I'm going to get him on the mic at some point, but he was saying, we can't mention Father Ted.
Yeah.
I don't know if he just assumed he couldn't, or if
He
that was an
specifically
instruction.
said not to. It's him and the cool priest. I keep forgetting all their names.
Yes,
he's
they did
stand-up
wrestling as well, didn't it?
And so usually if they get one of them, they'll get the other, and then they're on the bill. It's like Father Ted special, and you can kind of feel for them in a way, but on the other hand, you're like, well, you may as well, if it's getting you shows and you're getting paid for it.
Well,
then
the
why
two of
not,
them
like,
actually showed up in wrestling. I was going to bring it up with Father Demo.
Oh yes, I heard about this. Yeah, they did the.
It's on YouTube and everything, so I'm going to be watching it. And
Yeah,
doing a
yeah.
clip.
They turned up and did a whole thing.
Yeah, and Father Stone turns up with them.
Yeah.
So, but it is actually very parallel to your wrestlers' post WWF career.
Yeah.
That's what they'll do. They'll go around like these little towns and do like a tiny show,
Yeah.
living off their past glory.
They were in character as well, weren't they?
I think so. Yeah, I haven't actually seen it, but
I remember hearing about that and went. It sounded like a weird dream that you would have.
Yeah.
Like, why are these characters in this wrestling? Yeah, no, I heard about that.
Imagine you not loving. You're just there to see a local wrestling
Yeah.
show. Like, and
Father Stone turns up.
Father Demo comes around with a steel chair and smacks somebody across. I do just want to mention the change in sort of Irish culture between the last episode of the first series and the first episode of the second series. A lot of stuff had actually happened in Ireland, and things like the divorce referendum had went through. It was the end of the Charlton era in the football, so Jack Charlton had retired as the national team manager. The last Magdalene asylum closed between the two series of Father Ted. That is mental.
Yeah.
Like when I think of them, I think of 1950s. To think they were actually on in the 1990s.
Still at that point.
There was the string of Eurovision competitions was continuing.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that in more depth in a few weeks when we do the Eurosong episode. And then also Ballykiss Angel started.
Oh.
Yeah. So Irish perception across from now is getting much more confident, much more positive compared to what it had been right up until the early 90s, where it's just is the third world of Europe. Ireland would have been sort of considered as. So like it must have been like it was just a perfect storm of A, the fact it was a great show, and B, it was coming in on this wave of good feeling or good will towards Ireland. Because you also had stuff like the Corrs and the U2,
Riverdance and all that.
Yeah. Like it was, everyone loved being Irish at that point. Whereas 10 years before, if you were Irish in England, you were,
it wasn't a good time for you.
It's not beyond the possibility that the MI6 would have been in your flat just checking to see you haven't got any guns hidden somewhere when you were out. Like I have heard a lot of stories of people coming home and they didn't notice their books had been rearranged. It's like that's not the way I left that, and I've heard that from different sources, and so like it must have been. It must have just got the crest of that wave, and that's what sort of put it on a higher pedestal. Like maybe if it hadn't got such high ratings, we wouldn't still be talking about it now. Because it might not got its second series, but
it seemed to come around at the right time.
But so we'll wrap it up there then, and just say that, as I said, this perfect episode, solid episode. But I don't think it'll be a top 5 contender.
No, I don't think so. It's good. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not one of the ones really, apart from, as I said, the car where someone goes, do you remember the raffle episode, or do you remember? Not really. There's other episodes that come to people's mind more whenever they think of Father Ted.
Well, next week actually it will probably be one of those, and it will be our first road show because I will be in London, so we'll be recording in London. Just trying to finalise the guests for that, but it is about the 3 bishops and the Holy Stone of Crown Record, and that is a Stone Cold classic. So I can't wait to chat to those. Chat to a few comedy writers in London about that. But thanks very much for joining us,
No
Marcus. So, as I said, July 20th.
July 20th for Wonder Frog, and on July 30th I am guest on Lorcan McGreen's show. He's doing a show about what he finds in charity shops, and that would be of interest to Father Ted fans because he's from Monaghan. He's kind of trapped in Monaghan, and he has to go around and try and entertain himself with what's there. So a raffle for a car probably would be on the books.
High on his agenda.
It's about what he finds in various charity shops in rural Ireland, and some of the things he finds are very odd.
Oh, okay.
So I'll be a guest on that, and that's on the 30th.
Podcast, is it?
It's a live show. We might record it. I don't know what way it's going to work, but it'll be in the black box.
Oh, okay.
And
right.
the following day, I believe that me and Rory Wood and a bunch of other comedians are going to sit and watch Footloose in the black box,
Okay,
and
fantastic.
we're going to offer a commentary on it.
That's really like Mystery Science Theater 3000
Exactly.
sort of idea. Oh,
Yeah.
very good.
So
very good.
I haven't seen this film because I refuse to watch Footloose. So this will be my first viewing. So you'll get my unfiltered views on what I think of that.
Perfect. Well, I look forward to that then, and thanks very much for coming all the way down
Thanks
here.
for having us.
Yeah, no, perfect, and hopefully we'll have you again if we have enough episodes.
Yeah.
But and thanks also to Ash for coming down here with his tech desk. It meant getting the clips and everything. We're on iTunes now, so give us a rating and review, and try and get us up the listings so we can get more people involved. And thanks very much for keeping with us, and bless you.